Good.
What am I gonna say?
What's that? Well, you saw the post about managers when I knew it. I knew someone was gonna come on and say it.
Oh my God, Julie.
And then Kenny re-tagged it, bro. I knew it, man.
That was so funny.
Right, because look, if you guys come to a meeting with me in person, what do? What's going on, big dog? How you doing? What's up? Oh my, you look great. It's the same thing, right? It's the same exact style. So Ernesto, I knew you were gonna say something. I saw it in your eyes. Oh, that's good shit. Good shit. Thank you for the laugh. I appreciate it. Good to see everybody. Love it. Love it. PK, I'm not used to the hair being up, okay? We have this going on. I'm not used to this, okay? So you guys, I'm trying to live stream this, but I'm having a little bit of a boomer moment and it was throwing me off. And then so I'll figure it out. By next week, we'll have this all worked out so we can.
Cops trying to pepper spray a guy who's in the back of a car handcuffed.
Someone's in the back of the car handcuffed. Can you mute? Thank you.
Looking sharp, Elias.
Hey, thanks, brother. And I'm fully dressed. Fully dressed. It's not just
Prove it. I don't believe you. Prove it.
Prove it. You got fancy boots on.
Oh, snap.
Well, I have to, I'm going to Walnut Creek tonight for some soft opening of a new restaurant called Lita. And so I didn't want to go home and get changed again, nor did I want to show up in my quintessential hoodie. So I just got ready for the day, came to the Stockton office. I'm going to work out of this office. And then tonight I'll head out to Walnut Creek. But thank you for that. All right, guys, we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks for being on. Let me admit a few more people in the room. What's up, Cynthia? Welcome home.
Thank you. It's good to be home.
How was vacation?
It was great. And by the way, I'm rocking sweats and a nice shirt. I am not fully dressed. Nope.
That's right. That's right. Well, you're here though, and I got to know, Delmar, is that half or is that full? I'm gonna venture to guess it's full.
It's always full, man. What are you talking about? It has to be full. Come on, man.
That's right.
I'll show you the shoes too. Just the shoes.
Okay, big dog. I see you. I see you.
Hey, big dog. He got on a suit today. Okay.
It's like, it's funny because back in the days when I was a district manager at Coldwell Banker, like all I wore was suits, but I'm like, our environment's a little different. COVID changed some things. We went from home for, a year plus. And so
Today.
Change some things up, but it's good to see everybody. Feels good to get that done, obviously. All right, guys, we'll give it 2 more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get cracking. But good to see everybody. What's up, Danielle? Thanks for being here again.
Good morning.
Hi. What's up, Roxanne? Good to see you. I'm going to put a couple of people on mute.
Good morning.
Hi. You and Will models in the office yesterday.
Thank you.
All right. Hey,
Can I say something before we start the meeting?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I met a few people at the Oakland office yesterday, and everyone was amazing. Everyone was super welcoming and such a great energy, man. I'm super happy to be a part of this team. It is an amazing team. I felt so welcome at the Oakland office. I can tell you, like it was amazing. It was an amazing experience.
I love that. And hopefully we get to see you and I get to meet you on Friday for Foundation and Preparation. There's some people on the screen that I haven't been able to meet yet. And some people that I have met, but if you've been affiliated with our brokerage in less than 60 days, you definitely should come to this session. So Sabu, Carlos, Danielle, Delmar, anybody that affiliated within the last 60 days, Ricky, Sarah, Jonah. But if you have been here longer than that too, it's open up to everyone. Everyone's welcome to come. So let's go ahead and officially get started. It is 8:35 on this beautiful, glorious Wednesday morning, January 19th. We have a lot to talk about today. The new Bay East weather report just dropped, and we're going to have
recording?
I am recording. Thank you for that. Thank you. So the new Bay Area or Bay East Weather report just dropped, so we're going to be covering some details on that. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I highly, highly recommend that you make that part of your routine as soon as that comes out. I want to give a shout out to Chris because Chris is a family man. I know all of a lot of you guys have children, but it's cool to be able to witness this on Zoom. He drops his son off, and they like have this like, boom, love you, son, have a great day, and it's always cool to see it. So Chris, huge shout out to you, to all the moms, to all the dads out there holding it down, to all the step parents holding it down, because I know that is equally as hard as being a parent. So let's go ahead and get this party started on this beautiful morning. You know what? I'm going to turn it over to you, Cynthia. I've missed you. I haven't seen you in days. She's been up in Tahoe with the dogs, with the family, with the, with the loved ones. So Cynthia, I'm going to turn it over to you and have you bring us out of the tunnel and bring us out in the field on this beautiful Wednesday morning.
Thank you. I love bringing us out of the tunnel. What is today? The 19th. So we're already 19 days into January, you guys. And I heard Elias say something yesterday about that 1%. Imagine if every single day we did 1% more, 1% more. Imagine, how many more days do we have? Like, that's a crazy amount of work, of families, of things that we could get done. Shoot, cleaning I could get done around my house, right? So remember and hold that 1% so dearly when you feel like, I don't know, am I doing it right? Am I going? Am I stopping? What am I doing here? Just remember, all right, I'm just going to tune up the volume from 10 to 11, and holy smokes, be prepared for some like amazing things to happen. So we've got today, and then we've got Friday for group coaching. And I'm just so excited to be back. Yay. Thank you guys.
It's good to see you. It's good to see you. It's good to have you back. And you guys, when we talk about this, I remember watching a video. It's an old school video, probably early 90s, maybe mid 90s, with Tony Robbins. And he talked about, like millimeter shifts, right? We're not saying like change everything over time, but if you think about this in the context of being maybe a golfer, right? Well, if you change your swing by 1 millimeter, literally 1 millimeter, then obviously you're going to give the ball a completely different direction. If you committed to yourself that every single day I'm going to do 1% more. I don't know if you guys have ever done that push-up challenge. It starts with like 5 push-ups, okay? Then you do 6 push-ups the next day. Well, by 30 days, you're feeling like ripped, right? You're like, oh my God. And it's just literally started out with 1 more. I'm going to do 2 more. I'm going to do 3 every single day. So it's that compound effect. You guys have to look at your business right now. And here's what our challenge is. And I wrote this in an email yesterday, right? You guys come to group coaching, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the attendance on a high level. I appreciate your guys' contributions, right? And I'm not saying that you guys fall into this category. What I don't want to happen is that we come to these meetings, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because it's important. Come to these meetings for inspiration, right? We come to these meetings for a little bit of motivation. That's cool, you guys, and hopefully that does something for you. But once again, that shit is fleeting. I want to inspire some type of action from every single one of you. I want to lead by example and say, you know what, I'm willing to get up. I'm willing to be prepared. I'm willing to light my calendar up with as many meetings as I could possibly do. On Thursday and Friday of last week, I did 21 meetings in 2 days. I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm saying this to impress upon you what is possible if you allocate your time properly. So think about this, you guys. We have an opportunity to truly, truly set the course for our entire year. Right? If you say you want to make X amount of money, if you want to have this financial freedom, if you want to reach certain goals in your career, then you're going to have to work your ass off this year, right? If you don't know where your next deal is coming from, then we should meet one-on-one. If you don't know how to go about getting the deal, we should probably meet one-on-one so I can help you. Group coaching is designed to get us all together, to have collective wisdom, to share thoughts. But most importantly is I want to leave here with a sense of accountability. And I want you guys to push each other and hold yourself accountable when the screen isn't on. When you guys go back and you guys have a choice, man, I'm going to lay down for a little bit, or I'm actually going to get up. I'm going to make 20 calls today, or I'm going to fucking do 5 and then get sidetracked and go get a sandwich, right? You guys have a choice. So it's this in-between stuff that I want to help you guys with, because my goal right now is to get this company to $2 billion in production. That's when we talk about what I'm obsessed about. I'm obsessed about hitting $2 billion this year. right? But the only way that we're going to do that is helping you guys get into contract faster. What I'm doing right now is I'm running a report, and I want to show everybody how soon people can get into contracts when they join our environment, right? Whether that's 50 days, whether that's 45 days, whether that's 30 days. The report will be done by the end of the day. So what I am challenged with is, if that number is at 50, how do I reduce it to 40? If that number is at 40, how do I reduce it to 30? Right? But all these things are going to come down to actions. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We're also going to talk about accountability. And I'm also going to challenge you guys, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to opt into an accountability challenge. There's no pressure, there's no requirements, there's no guidelines, right? This is simply saying, do you want to opt in, provide and share your numbers every single week, and then have us talk about it every single week on this call? That's it. We'll start a group chat on Slack. We've done this before, and I want to get back to it. I want to get back to that being the normal routine that we are constantly updating and sharing our stats. Because I'll tell you what, it's going to happen where you're going to be like, hey, PK, hey, you know what? I'm down on my calls. Can we just get in the office really quick? Hey, Missy Matthews is calling Colette and saying, hey, girl, like, how I just want to see what's up. Can you want to make calls with me, right? That's what we need to have more of, right? We come together at 8:30, we're hyped up, but is that hype leading to instant action, right? Like, I want you guys to leave here and be like, damn, I heard some good shit from Kevin Magnet today. Roxanne put us on game, talked about the market. My mind is fresh. I'm up. I've got my coffee. What's the next thing I'm going to do? Who wants to hop on a call with me? Let's just put our Zoom screen on and let's just start making some calls together, right? Cool, right? That way there's this sense of community. Who wants to meet in the office today at 2 o'clock for power hour? Who wants to log their calls and put them in Sisu with me today, right? This is what's going to lead to it. Because I promise you guys this, when you look at your year, the one thing that is going to be able to say, did I have a banger year or did I have a shit year, is going to be your ability to look at your appointments met. Everything else is important, don't get me wrong, but your appointments met category is the highest, most important metric that you guys need to look at the end of the year for your business. But how do you get there? You don't get appointments met without doing the action. The action is the door knocking, the calls, the videos, the social media posts, right? When we talk about the 5 pillars of production. So we're going to have this conversation in just a moment, but that's where my thoughts are. I want to help you guys hold yourselves personally accountable. I'm not going to say, Maria, can you make 75 calls for me? Sure, Elias. That fucker's just talking, right? I don't want that. I don't want that. I want it to be like, you know what? This is something I am committed to, not Elias, right? I know what I'm committed to. I know what I'm willing to do in my own career for my success, for my family. All of us are different. So what I want to have is this sense of accountability that's going to help you guys get into contract and get into contract soon. By a show of hands, how many people would benefit right now in their life, no matter how much you have saved? Hold on, let me ask the question. How many people, and give me a reaction with the reaction button below. How many people would benefit from getting a $15,000 to $25,000 paycheck right now in their life? Exactly, and I'm gonna fucking raise my hand for that one as well. So what I want to help you guys do is get really dialed in with that accountability, that self-accountability and that action to make sure that you guys are doing the things that are going to lead to your appointments met. And if you are meeting tons of clients and nobody's writing offers, guess what, Vanessa? We have something that we can work on. What are your offers like? What's your communication like? Are you writing the offer that the client said, or are you helping them strategize and writing the best winning offer? What's your cover letter look like? What are the key questions that you're asking the listing agent when you're about to present your offer? How many levels of communication are you having? How are you looking at the data? Did you call the pendings in the area and talk to the buyer's agent to see what are they actually in contract with, so you can really prep and strategize, right? I want to help you guys. But if we don't have KPIs, if we don't have data to look at, truly from a coaching standpoint, from a training standpoint in Cynthia's department, we really don't have much to go off of. So we do this blanket approach, and sometimes, let's be real, blanket approaches don't work. There's a lot of you that have succeeded in this environment on this call. A lot of you that have had record-breaking years, and you guys are going to continue to grow. But my thought right now is that I want to make sure that we're helping everybody. nobody's left behind, right? Because if Will can do over 30 deals in 1 year and it's his first year in business, why the heck can't you? Why can't you do 50? If Jen O can post $34 million in production and she's been here less than 3 years, in 1 year in production, there's nothing standing in any of our way, right? So that's where we're going to go in the second part of the conversation. I'm hyped up. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm cold because it's freezing in here. So it's like my hands are frigid, but I'm ready to go. So let's talk a little bit about the market. How many people watched the new East Bay weather report in the last 3 days? Please raise your hand if you've watched the East Bay weather report. Okay, Nicole, was that a half a hand? Was that a full hand?
I watched it, but it was different from what the one that normally so I was like, is he talking about a different one? That's why I stuttered like that, but I did watch it. It was just different from the previous ones because it just kind of did like a recap, but it didn't go over January's numbers.
Totally. So it was a kind of a whole year in recap. When we think about our numbers right now, our numbers, we had a slow start to the year, which is, it's common, but we want to make sure that that's not a trend. So who else watched the video? Please raise your hand if you've watched the video. Ernesto, did you watch it? Kevin, have you watched it yet? Okay, so what I want everyone to do after this call, go to bayeast.com or bayeast.org, go to community info, and go into the real estate housing statistics. Here it is right here. So what you're going to find in that video is some really, really good information about what is happening in your market in the last year. It's also going to give you some ability to have some great talking points to your consumer. But first and foremost, you guys have to understand the data. Then you have to convey the data in a way that you understand it and you can speak intelligently about the data. We don't expect everyone to explain data the way Kevin Magnan does because his mind operates different than you guys. So take the data, figure it out and understand it, and then convey that message in a way that is really, really understandable to your consumers in the way that you communicate. So supply of homes was at a 4-year low in the East Bay. And let's just take it back to the last few years. In 2008, we had about 2161 homes on the market. 2019, 2499. In 2020, it dropped down to 1451. And in 2021, we saw only 1,115 homes. Medium home sales prices increased by 23% in 2020, compared to 2020. And our average days on the market are 17 days on the market. I don't see any signs of prices going down in this year. I don't see any signs of us having what people say is they're all going to wait for the crash. That's not going to happen. I'm going to say that here, and I'll say that with confidence. I do not feel like we are going to have a crash. Our economy is too strong. Interest rates will remain to be relatively low, but what happens, especially in the Bay Area, is that the job demand is high, the pay is high. So I don't think that we're ever going to fall into this category of where we did in 2008, 2009. So I want you guys to be really astute about what is going on around us, what is happening around us, and really start to think about all of the open houses that are happening in our markets. I talked to Christina Darrow, and I think, Christina, you're on. I don't know if anybody else had some open houses this last weekend, but Christina, let's just talk about a little bit about buyer behavior. Over the weekend, how many people did you see attend your open house? How many people rolled through?
Not people, but I had 177 groups of people. It was a circus. It would literally look like people were taking turns in lines going through all the rooms. It was insane.
177 groups. Okay. What is the price point of the listing?
I listed at 1,499 and we're taking offers today and we're in the 1.7s.
In the 1.7s. Okay. And when we think about that, you guys, 177 groups, how many offers were on the table submitted to you?
7
offers. So that means that there's still 6 people that are definitely ready to write in that category. but then there's the 100 plus other people that are still looking for homes in that market. So our competition is strong. So from what you've seen on your end, when you're looking at offers, let's talk to you from the listing side. What are some things that you saw the agents do that really stood out to you as the listing agent? Let's have that conversation. What are some things that you saw that truly stood out and when they were presenting their offers?
First, people were really nice. I'm used to working on the buy side where agents are really rude, short, and dry, which I don't want to repeat. So I've been also very nice back. So people were really nice. They've been on top of it. They've been calling, texting, just like, making some type of conversation aside from the listing, either whether it's about the client or themselves or about us, for me to remember them. And there's definitely 2 agents that I'm never, ever going to forget. And I absolutely have fallen in love with because of the efforts that they've done. I would say those are what have really stood out to me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So here's a good indication of what is going on. And where's the home located, Christina?
Pleasanton.
What did those 2 agents do that stood out so much?
They came to the open house with their clients, hung out with me, talked to me, called me, texted me, asked me how I was doing, how's everything going? Just not just like, hey, what are you expecting? How many offers do you have? Not just the standard things. They just want above and beyond to get to know me as an individual and talk to me about their clients. I actually met the clients. The family actually hung out for almost 2 hours with me on Sunday. And it was a coincidence because I ran into them on Wednesday when I was going to pass out flyers in the neighborhood. They were there. So they introduced, I talked to them, got to know them a little bit. And then again, I saw them on Sunday. So the agents were with their clients.
I love this. And the fact that they're taking the time to slow down, just build that relationship with Christina. Because quite frankly, we've been neck and neck before with a offer, and our offer got accepted, even though it was a little bit less, but they said, you know what, you guys just have displayed, so much communication. You guys, you've been sweet to us. You presented a great offer, and we understand who your clients are, and we want to give it to them, right? And so that's important. Who else had a open house in the last week? Ernesto, let's hear from you, brother.
Well, I had my listing come live in Lodi, and when I think about why I took the offer that I did, the agent, although she was newer, she told me straight up, she's like, "Hey, Ernesto, I'm newer. I've been in the game for 5 months." She was just really, really on it. She communicated extremely well. She got her lender involved. So even on a Saturday night, I can reach her lender and ask questions about the pre-approval and kind of the financial stability of the applicant. So she had her stuff together. She asked me, like, what are you looking for an offer? I said, honestly, I have, since I have inspections already provided, I would like for someone to waive their inspection contingency because it's pretty cut and dry where we are in terms of inspections. And she came back a second time with a window vendor, because there's a couple windows that need, eventually maybe some replacing, just some cosmetic things. So the fact that she already put her clients at ease about some of the inspection concerns, it made me feel like they were not going to back out. Conversely, I got a couple of offers that were just blank. Like there's no contact info. There's no proof of funds. I call the office and try to speak to the agent. Nobody answers. And it makes me feel like, is this even a real offer? So a couple with do's and don'ts for sure.
Love this. I love this. Let's hear from one other person. Has anybody else in the last week or 2 weeks held an open house from either being the buyer's agent or it was your listing? Does anybody else have this experience in the last couple of weeks that they want to share? Okay, cool. So you guys, we're going to continue to have low inventory in the Bay Area. We're going to continue to have high prices in the Bay Area. So what your clients need to be able to do in this environment.
I don't think, I do. I have a smaller one, a larger one that I got when I was larger, and then I got a smaller one.
You find her.
You got the.
All right. Hey, Tania and everyone else, super, super important. If you're having side conversations, I get it. We're at homes, make sure to mute yourself. So low inventory, high prices. What we need to prep our clients to do is they need to be ready to fight, right? This is not a market for the faint of heart. This is not a market for the people that are not ready to compete, but this conversation needs to be had very early on. You need to set clear expectations. You need to lay the foundation, and you need to lay the framework for what's going to happen. If you guys are not slowing down and saying, here's what's going to happen, I'm going to put you on game, I'm going to help you understand the market, we're going to strategize, and I'm share with you how I'm going to get your offer accepted in this competitive landscape, then you're doing them a disservice. You guys have to slow it down, and that's where the buyer's consultation really comes into play. PK, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was actually working on this last night. I have 3 active buyers that it's been very challenging for them to understand how competitive the market is. So last night, what I did was I went through every single showing that we've had so far, and I track everything on a Google sheet, and it's shared with my clients so they see all of this data. So last night I went and updated the list to sold price. And every single home that we've seen together, they wanted to write an offer, or we did write an offer, is on that list. And last night I messaged all 3 and I said, in the morning when you wake up, I want you to take a look at every single listing that we looked at and how much it sold for. And I was at the gym and I got 2 messages out of the 3, and they were completely shocked to see that a listing that we saw, and every single one sold at least $300K above list price. And this is Oakland, El Cerrito, and Berkeley. Every single one had at least 3 offers. None were, even below 3 offers. And all of this data is literally shared with them. And I feel like because they saw the homes and they kind of had feelings towards them, it's much easier for them to understand that this is not a joke. Like, we cannot be, like, oh, like dilly dally, we'll see, like we're willing to put, 150 up, or we don't want to max out our budget. Like, if you want to buy a house, you have to max out your budget. You do have to take it more seriously, or change your criteria and have different standards. So I'm really happy that I did this, because I did not want to waste their time any longer. I don't want to waste my time any longer. If this is not the type of competition they want to be in, this is it. We're done. This is the end of the relationship for the 3 clients, and I have data to prove it.
I love it. And it's you got to make a stance sometimes, and it's unfortunate, but you got to make a stance. And something I heard on a mastermind call yesterday, I think this is a good practice for all of us. How many people have clients that say that they want to wait and see if the market softens? How many people have heard that bullshit ass, and sorry for my language, right? You're going to hear that. Well, what this team does, and they break it out per city. So say a client is looking in San Leandro, they're looking in Berkeley, and they're looking in the Oakland Hills. Well, what they do is they do a month-over-month comparison in price increase since they started shopping. Well, Mr. Johnson, you said that you've been shopping for the last 4 months. Let's just take a look back at the data. When you first started looking at homes in the Berkeley area, the homes were listed at a starting point of 1.7. If we're just looking at the data over the last 3 months, we have seen an increase every single month, 17, 21, and 23% last month. If we equate that over time, we compound that, what does that mean? I think that if you wait, we have no signs of those numbers going down. If you wait, you might run into a challenge of even being able to purchase a home in Berkeley. So once again, here's your mouthpiece. Here's a little bit of water. Let me wipe your brow and let's get back in the ring. You guys have to really become these amazing coaches for your clients and be able to look at this in a different way, because you saying, all right, we got to stay in there, home ownership, right? Interest rates are low. Like, they might not get that. But when you break it down and you help them understand that, hey, guys, we need to hang in there before it gets to the point where you're not able to afford a home in this market. So PK, love it. Misty Matthews, you had your hand up.
Sorry, just old lady forgot to bring it down from the earlier question. But I did want to talk about some real quick. So I'm working on a partner deal in LA. I'm not as familiar with the LA market. I've been to LA a few times, but obviously just to have a good time. And Inglewood right now is going through some like major changes. So I have some clients, they're looking at some condos. We make an offer on a condo, it was at 535. And I went in super low at like 499 based upon what's happening in the community. Cause it's almost like Oakland, San Francisco, you go one street over and you're like, whoa, what just happened, right? So we go in at 499, we get it accepted at 520. I'm freaking stoked. right? I'm like, guys, this is like the most sought after, condo complex. I've done some research. I talked to the agent who's there, and you know what the clients say? They say, well, Misty, we're not for sure if we really like this condo. And I have no patience. I have 3 children, but my patience are very short. And I just literally dropped the F-bomb. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You called me and told me this was the right place. It's 2 minutes from work. It's just all these things. And now you're saying you think that you don't really like the condo. They were like, well, Misty, we don't, and I know what it is. It's their first purchase and they're nervous. I remember the first time I purchased a home. Yeah, it is. It's scary. There's lots of things going on. We make another offer last night on a condo that's 2 minutes away, but not as nicer, but not on the nicer side of the street. We'll just say it that way. The girlfriend is like, Misty, I don't want to go higher than 510. It was on the market at $499 with multiple offers. And I hate to say this, but I can't wait till we get our asses handed to us so I can put her in her place, because she thinks she's like real estate agent of the year with no license. So I'm so excited to do it. I hate to lose a buyer, because I'm at a point in my life. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna do this. I've showed you the data, like what PK said. I don't think I was as thorough as PK, but I showed you the data. The numbers don't lie. They don't lie. And then I want to give something good to everybody. If you're not using HomeBot, freaking use it. I plugged some people into HomeBot, and I've already gotten like 3 folks reaching out to me asking for CMAs. Just in Brentwood. I'm in Brentwood, everybody who doesn't know. HomeBot works. So that's all I got to lie. I'll raise my hand now.
Good. Because and you think about the different communication styles, because our hope is that you walk away with this and say, you know what, I have some information that I can convey to a buyer. I have information I have to share with the on the fence buyer or somebody that's looking in Brentwood, or, now I have some third-party stories. And Mel, you type something in the chat here. I want you to chime in. This is some good conversation. I want you to kind of elaborate on what you just wrote in the chat. So Mel, if you can grab the mic and talk about this for a sec.
Yeah, thank you, Elias. Good morning, Team Fast. I wish that I could screen record, or somehow, maybe if this is recorded, I will just take a snippet of it and send this to my buyer, because this is one of the conversations of the year. I feel like real estate is just naturally such an interesting topic to people. I feel like people get really excited about this home buying journey, and they're doing the research, and there's all these different tools out there like Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, all these different tools out there for buyers to be very, very savvy and educate themselves on the market. But they're not in the agent's shoes. They're not on these calls. They're not understanding what the market is doing. They're not hearing that people are getting outbid left and right in almost every city in the Bay Area with multiple offers on every single home, especially first-time home buyers. I feel like they think that they're so much more educated than the real estate professional that's been in the industry and been doing this for years and years and years. Example, I'm dealing with my analytical buyer. I talked about this last week on group coaching. For those of you that were on the call, I'm sure you remember this. Ernesto, my man, he was so gracious enough to hop on a Zoom call with me and literally went through spreadsheets, stats, different types of tools that I could use to show my buyer, and really helped me with harnessing some ammo behind my presenting this to the buyer. And so I went through all of this with her. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it's ego, I don't know if it's pride, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe our personality types obviously don't match. But she just thought everything that I was saying was bullshit, or she had an answer for it, or she had a way of proving me wrong because of her research that she's doing online and all the things that she's reading, and the way that her analytical mind is coming to determine the facts and the numbers and, everything, because she does this for work. And so no matter what I said, no matter what facts I brought to the table, she did not want to hear it. And she wanted to write a preemptive offer on a home in El Cerrito, listed at $849. She wanted to go in at $859. And I told her, I said, I think this property is most likely going to sell for over $1 million. And she said, give me some facts to support that. Send her some facts to support it. She said, those facts don't tell me anything. That doesn't really show me what the market is doing. Give me some more data. Went back to Ernesto, gave her some more data. Still wasn't good enough. And then she decided she doesn't want to write an offer on the property because she thought that I was trying to oversell her to buy something over $1 million. Well, I think that here's the thing, just like what PK said, perfect analogy. You either need to change your criteria or you need to continue renting and not become a homeowner, especially if you think you know more than the real estate agent. And so it was just like a really, really interesting dynamic between me and this buyer. She's a single mom. She's a little older. She lives in Albany. She rents in a very high price neighborhood. Her son goes to a private school. And it was just really interesting how like she was trying to educate me on the market, although she's never purchased a house before. This is her first time. So at the end of the day, I just kind of let it go. I didn't really continue following up with her. I should have probably fired her ass, but I didn't want to be disrespectful and I wanted to be the professional that I know that I am. And at the end of the day, there's just some people out there that are super unrealistic in this market. PK, I would love to understand a little bit further about what you did exactly and what spreadsheets you used to go back to your buyer, because maybe not with this buyer, but on the next person, I want to be able to go to them with some straight fire. I want to be like, you know what? Fuck your spreadsheets. This is what I'm seeing in the market. This is how many offers I see out. This is how many disclosure packets I see out, which I gave to her, but that wasn't good enough. So I want to take it to the extra, put some extra sauce on top. I want to be able to really, really educate my buyers and build that trust and that rapport from the beginning, because I never want to have someone tell me that they know more about the market than I do when they've never bought a house before. Not after 10 years. I'm not playing that shit. So, Mike,
say it, girl.
That's
Preach
right,
it, girl.
That's right. And you know what? Not everyone's going to be like this, but we're all going to have those clients that are just going to be the know-it-alls, right? Like sometimes you just gotta let them go. Like, hey, I don't think I'm the best one to serve you. So I love it. Now I love it, and I love that you're learning along the way about the data and like really diving in. And at the end of the day, we're the trust professionals. I think that early on in our presentation, whether it's at the buyer's consultation or whenever you're having this conversation needs to be had in this sequence. So what have you heard about the market, PK? Tell me what you've heard about the market and what type of market are we currently in right now, right? Let them tell you where they're getting the market and where are you getting this information from, right? Have an open dialogue with them. Where are you getting this information from? From CNN? Oh, my buddy Jim, who sold 20 houses like in 95, and he says that, oh, you can write under offer. You'll get that. My mom in Tennessee, who's bought 14 houses, she said that, yeah, we can offer lower, right? We get that, parents, right? All the time. So, okay, cool. I process all that information. Well, let me share with you the reality of what is actually happening in our real estate market. That's when you share the stats, the figures, but like that's early on. So it's like you set the precedence of education and the data behind it and say, all of our decisions moving forward, Sabu, are going to be based off the data. I'm going to remove my opinion and we're going to remove emotion from this, right? What we're going to do is we're going to make decisions based off the data. And here's the thing, I don't need practice, and I'm just saying this to you guys, I don't really need practice writing offers. I want to write offers that are winning, right? I want to get offers that are accepted, right? And so you guys need to like set that framework early on so they understand what's to come with you. And sometimes you're just going to have those knuckleheads. You're going to have those knuckleheads that just think that they have all the answers. So now the way to show poise and way to keep in the fight and still, do what you're doing. Anybody else have a conversation around this that they want to talk about, anything they're experiencing that they want to share in this environment? Linnell Dixon, let's hear from you.
The whole name, Linnell Dixon. So I have a client who's looking in Livermore, and they have I think it's like $1.1 million $50 budget. And they want a 2-story home, 3 bedrooms, 1 bedroom on the lower part of the home, and this and that and the third. And so what I did was I met up with them and I brought my iPad and I ran the comps on the homes that we've seen. So we've seen about 4 homes. So in front of them, I ran the comps on the homes that we've seen. And I showed them the numbers from what was the initial price and then what was the sold price. And so then I had gave them and this is my initial meeting with them. And so then I had told them automatically off top, like, yeah, sellers, they put it at this price, but the market that we're in, you're going to have to be competitive. So my buyers, like, now they're getting it. And so now they're looking for a home, a one-story home that they can afford. So yeah, that's my little real spill on that.
All right. So that's a really tough price point for what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Especially in Livermore. Would they consider going over the Altamont?
So yeah, so I was talking to the Spivey Daniel team, and I was trying to convince them to go because of what they want. I was trying to convince them to go to River Island. Totally. But they thought so River Island is a little bit too far for them. So Mountain House is like the next place that we're looking. So they're thinking about doing these things. And again, like I said, they kind of lowered their expectations because honestly, just showing them the data, letting them know like, yeah, the seller is saying this, but other buyers are going to come in. And if you want to be competitive, you need to be at a good number. And so, yeah, so they're considered doing it. And they also, like I said, changed their 2-story to a 1-story.
Love it. And once they drop over the Altamont and they go to Mountain House, they go to Tracy Hills.
I know. I want them to go so bad.
It's beautiful. And then when you get into River Islands, you're like, wait a minute, and I'm speaking from true experience, right? I had no idea that this even existed and looked so beautiful. And it felt like a resort community. Like you have no idea. So now, and that happened through pandemic. I only want to be in Oakland, 4 months later, they purchased a house in Oakley, right? Only wanted to be in Oakland. And so once you share with them and show them what is possible and what they can get, I mean, what's an extra 25 minutes in drive time to go over the Altamont? I mean, it really, and most of them can work from home. So, Linnell, good work. So here's what I want to do, you guys. You've kind of gotten a sense of what's happening in the market. We talked about inventory. We talked about medium sales prices being up 23% compared to 2020, 17 days on the market, low inventory, obviously everything that's going on, 4-year low inventory. I want somebody to have a quick conversation with me and do the framework for me if they're going to have a conversation with the brand new buyer, right? How are you going to explain to them what is happening on the first conversation? We're not going into all the details yet, but to give me a precursor of what to expect, kind of set some expectations, set some framework for me, like what to expect. So I'm going to go to Kwanzo. Bro, you have great communication skills. You're talking with me and you're going to go from this context. I want you to ask me the questions. What have I heard about the market? Where am I getting the info? What type of market are we in? And share with me the reality of what's going on. So I'll just start this off. Yeah, we've heard about the market, that it's super, super competitive. My buddy just purchased a home over in Dublin, and he said it's really, really competitive. We read CNN and we're on Zillow every day, and we're getting these Redfin alerts. And so I think that we're pretty savvy on what's going on. And from what we've heard, it's definitely been a seller's market, but I think there's going to be a crash and it's going to turn into a buyer's market in the coming months.
That's really interesting. I mean, first of all, I applaud you for staying on top of everything. And, it's definitely good to be in the know. And, those sources that you cited, those are definitely good places for a start, right? But I'm curious, where are you getting the data to back up this notion that the market might be correcting or, crashing?
My buddy Frank, he was in the real estate market a while ago. I think he sold some houses back in the 2010s.
Okay, you said I heard it was, so that's my follow-up question is like when? Okay, yeah. 2010. Okay. Okay. So, and is he also staying up on the market and the information, or it sounds like you guys had a recent conversation? And
yeah, I check the news. I check the news every day.
Got it. Well, one thing about the news we know is it's about sensationalism, right? They want you to click on it so that you can see what they're talking about. But there's a lot of information on there, but a lot of time it's really to create a reaction. It's not necessarily what's really happening. So let me tell you what we're seeing from our side, right? As professionals in the market right now, we are seeing low inventory, extremely low inventory. So if you were to actually go 2 years back, right now we are at the lowest inventory it's since then, right? So for the past 2 years, lowest inventory. And so if you look at the simple math of supply and demand, right? When you have low supply and you have high demand, you're going to have high prices, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing that there's still plenty of buyers out there. Well, you're following the news, so you're seeing the stuff about the Feds, right? You're seeing that the Feds are going to, they're talking about tapering. They're talking about, they're shutting off the money printing spigot. They're going to start raising interest rate. Now they're talking about buying back all their, to actually offload all of their, from the bonds to mortgage-backed securities. So all of that is creating a lot of people now really want to get in the market. So we have really, really tight supply and very, very high demand. That's what we're seeing.
Love it. And I'm putting you on the spot here, but when we think about what COVID did to our industry, COVID forced so many people to stay home. And when we were early in pandemic, it exposed the inadequacies of our homes because we're spending more time there. Then what it did is it forced Americans to save more money because they couldn't do shit, right? Then as you've saved all this money, then you say, you know what, now I want to put this money into home ownership. And what happened is I still have this $250,000 salary because we're in one of the best job markets in the entire country. And so there's this growth and there's this strength of our local market. And we're unlike any other market in the entire country. And I'm glad that you're talking about this, Quan, because every single market in the Bay Area is its own microclimate, right? Go and sell a home in Oakland, right? You could be in Maxwell Park and you could be in Seminary and you can have vastly different price points, right? You could go to the Oakland Hills or you can go to the hood and be 449, and you could be at 1.5, right? Within 5 minutes. Right. And so it's understanding the different flow. And so the CNN, and Ernesto said this before, the CNN is good and the stuff that you're seeing, but that is broad picture. Let me share with you the reality of what is happening on a micro level in all these different markets. I'm going to share data with you. I'm going to share what houses are listing for, what they're selling for. Well, what also I'm going to show you is how many offers were written on each of those homes. I'm going to share with you what the competition level is. And if the average prices are 20% over list price, and I'm going to share that with you before we even start to write offers, because we won't be able to compete if you can't come up to that level based on what the data says. So get really, really strong with this conversation, you guys. And we talk about this weekly. Damian, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just to that point, I had a lead yesterday that they didn't want to set the appointment to go see the home. They wanted to know about the area that it was in first. And I'm like, this is Oakland. We're pocket specific. Like you could be on a 2-block span of a block and it drastically changes 2 blocks after that. I'm like, so it's probably best to get out there and start seeing homes before we arbitrarily just knock things off of the list that you really might consider, because different people can tolerate different neighborhoods and circumstances. And so here in the Bay Area, where it does change so drastically in a matter of blocks, it's best to start clients off. In my experience, it's best to start them off just looking at things if they don't know the areas. If they already know where they want to be and where they don't, like because they're really familiar, then that's one thing. But most of these people are coming from across the bridge or elsewhere. So you really have to show them the market. Sometimes the data can't, explain those things that you actually can touch and that are tangible.
I 100% agree with you. Evelyn, you've had your hand up for a moment. Let's go over to you.
Myself. Hi. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to share a story. We just closed on a deal in Oakland, and we actually got it lower than asking price, which is like a miracle. And the client is actually my daughter, and so there's money out there. She actually got every city and county are giving free money, and so she got literally zero money out of her pocket. And I managed to negotiate with the seller to pay the closing cost. and reduce. So the list price was $749. We originally offered $749, but we got it down to $737. But they paid for the closing costs, so it was zero pocket out of pocket, maybe $1,000 for the EMD. That was it. And he said something about $1,000 for EMD. I said, well, that's what I suggested to them, because they didn't have a lot of money. So they ended up getting it. But and I tell them, you're really lucky to get something like this because of the way the market is right now. To get something lower than the asking price it's really, I told you, count your blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what, there's unicorn situations, and this is what I call a unicorn situation, because based on the conversation, we're not all experiencing that. However, there is going to be some cases, you know what, there's going to be cases where the clients just say, just find me a nice family. Like, I just don't want to go through multiple offers. Just find me somebody that really wants to live in this home, because we just want to go to a really nice person. So Evelyn, congrats to your daughter. Congrats on your negotiation. And you guys, that should give you some hope that there's some unicorn opportunities out there. So let's hear from one other person. I see another hand up. Sil, let's go to you. And then actually, Ernesto, you had your hand up too, but Sil, let's go to you, rapid fire, and then we'll come full circle.
Good Wealth Building Wednesday, team. What I've done in the past, I've been in the game for a minute, but what I have done is I try to really build rapport with my client, and I try to get them to look past the future. This is not when they're looking for a home, a lot of times this is not going to be their forever home. And I show them the data is great. And I do show them data, and I show them that they need to get in and live in that home for a couple of years or 5 years or so. And then they have built the equity. They can pull that equity out, move up to something else. They would not be able to have that kind of money, those several hundreds of thousands of dollars. They would not be able to earn that, or they wouldn't even be able to make that move. And I show them that getting into the game right now when they need to will help them to move on. I let them know that this house is not their last house. And I have found that works, and that kind of puts a little foot up their ass sometime, because people can really get stuck and like, oh, I want this, but if you show them that you're going to use this house that you're getting now to make some money so that you can move up to the next house, a lot of times that will kind of kickstart them some, and they will think about it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, right. And then they will get a little more serious, and they will go ahead, because now they have an end goal, and they see that they're using that property as a tool to get to where they're trying to go, and they will get more competitive. They will see the numbers. They will realize that their salary will not catch up with, will not keep up with the rise in costs.
That's right. That's right. Love it. Amazing insight. Amazing insight. You guys, PK said this earlier. I want you guys to get super, super organized. When you guys are showing multiple homes, here's just an example of something that I built in the past. So this is, status if the homes are active, what the address is, the link to see the homes, showing info, buyers if they did a drive-by, and then buyer's notes. You actually can share this with your buyer, so then they can add any notes, like doesn't need anything before the baby, huge potential for backyard, low, work that needs to be put into it. Here's the agent notes. So this is notes that we put in. There's the offers are due. Here's the link to the disclosure. So everything is in one page. Then what you could do is you could do another one for houses that they didn't see or saw. Then you can put in what it sold for, right? What it listed for, what it sold for. So then if you're backtracking, you're going back and sharing with them, hey, remember that house on Main Street? That actually sold for only $10,000 up. Remember when you said that you could have gone up, but you didn't gone up? You could have had that house for $10,000 more. So being able to keep like an accurate log of what you're seeing, what you're showing them, what they sold for, or what they listed for, that way you constantly are staying super, super organized with your flow. PK, you had a hand up.
Is it possible for you to give me sharing access for one quick second? Because I got some messages, people wanted to see it. I'm just going to quickly show it. And if anybody wants a copy, I'll send it. It's nothing crazy, but I'll show you. Am I good to go?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you an example of, okay, so this is a current one that I'm actually building it up. But as it's very similar to Elias, it's really actually good to have the MLS number too, because you can do a quick, you don't have to keep going back to the listing, offer date, listing number. Sometimes I do price per square foot. It's not relevant, so you don't have to do it. Additional notes, blah, blah, blah. And when you do this for, more than a month, then you have this, which is where I can update the sold numbers and tell them to go look at it themselves. And they can see, oh my gosh, this house, I loved it. It went for 138. This house went 1.4. This one went for 1.6. Like, what is happening? Because they wanted to write like 135 for all of these ones. Anyways, so this is how I track it. And then I share it at the end of each month when new, sold numbers are out. And this is another really helpful, I told you about the reverse engineering thing that I've done. I run this by, it's in the MLS, anything that was sold within their budget, where is the area? And I tell them to look at the area. This is the MLS code for that neighborhood. And, if they actually do like, what they see in that neighborhood, then we can actually put a search targeted for it. But this is my way of telling them, listen, like when you see a 798, it's not going to sell for that. And just look at the data, right? It's all data. There's nothing that I'm telling them that it's not backed by data. And it also has the number of offers. So, before we even start the search, this is sent to them, this is shared with them, and they see it for themselves. For this particular buyer, I did an extensive one because they wanted to see like everything in Oakland, but usually I give them a set of maybe 20 to 30 listings in the past 3 months to 6 months. So the list is much shorter, easier to digest. This one, they asked for, the entire city of Oakland. So that's why it's a very scary kind of list of numbers. It's just data. That's it. That's the beauty of our job. We have a lot of data to share.
You guys look at the far right corner column X. If you guys don't have this field on your comps, please make sure to add that field. You literally just add it. That way you can really show them how competitive it is or how competitive it's been and help them prep to see what's going to be, the best strategy to get their offer accepted. So this is next level. PK, this is really good. What I want to do next Wednesday is I want to have like a resource library Wednesday. What I want to do is I want to pool, maybe Kevin, Ernesto, Mel, PK. We can pool all of our resources and then start sharing those, because I have tons of resources, Ernesto does, PK does, we all do, right? But if it's going to help you get your offer accepted, that's what I want to see from you guys. So on Wednesday, let's have a brief conversation about the market, and then we'll have kind of like a resource library session to where we're just brainstorming, sharing thoughts and ideas, and we'll provide links and stuff like that. So you guys, I'll talk to you offline about that. But before we head out, and Ernesto, I'm sorry, did you want to chime in really quick? I saw your hand up for a minute.
I did. I have a kind of an uncomfortable perspective to share. So 2 things. One, the way that I see my role is that I'm a Sherpa. If you guys know what a Sherpa is, a Sherpa helps people get up and down Mount Everest. So buying a home right now can feel like Mount Everest. Sorry. You want to get to the top. You want to make that climb. It's going to feel good. I'm here to tell you it's dangerous. I'm here to tell you there's parts where you may get tired. I'm here to tell you I know the way up and down. I do it all the time. So in order for this to work, you kind of have to trust me, right? I'm your Sherpa. I'm your guide. So if I'm not setting the expectations, the correct expectations from the beginning, it leads me to my next point. This is my fault. If a buyer's getting frustrated with me, if we've been looking at homes for 6 months, like all these things that we're sharing, but if you believe like I believe, like if I know you've heard of Jocko Willink, right? And the theme of extreme accountability, all of this is preventable. And maybe we are ourselves not comfortable having that conversation. Maybe we ourselves are not comfortable looking up the data and where to go to find those resources. It's still, just my personal view that ultimately it's our fault. So if we are taking on these leads and they're like, oh, I'm looking for a 3-2 in San Francisco, my budget's $700,000. And we're like, awesome, let's get in the car, let's go tour some homes. That's partly our fault. So my last 2 cents for today.
Love it. And you guys, we talked about this, like creating a heightened consumer experience. From the moment that you guys get a lead, there needs to be an experience the way that you're communicating. Then when you set up your buyer flow and how they're receiving the buyer cloud CMA, Then when you hop on your, your buyer consultation and how you're providing the data and educating the consumer and advocating for them, there needs to be like this heightened experience, because I promise you, if you shared with a consumer what PK just shared with us, or a log or some type of way for them to look back, they would look at that and be like, you know what? There's so much detail and there is so much depth in what she's doing. Our last agent just opened doors and said, what do you think? Fucking bore me, right? So this is next level stuff. So that's why we have these conversations, you guys. This is why we can all get better. So I want to challenge everybody right now, and this is to opt in. And Cynthia, I'm going to need a little bit of help on your end. If you can start this in general channel, you guys, I want you guys in general channel, I want you guys to go in and what you guys are going to commit to for this week. And let me share something with you. This
Elias, you start a thread first, because we don't want like 30 things.
No, Cynthia's starting the thread, and then everyone's going to respond to that thread. All right, so only respond in thread, reply in thread. Actually, Cynthia, I'm gonna have you pull up your screen really quick so you can just show everybody how to reply in thread. And this is important, you guys. This keeps Slack really, really clean. And thank you for saying that, Kenny. All right, so Cynthia's gonna start it off. We're gonna do it in general channel. Cynthia, you can take yourself off of mute too, so you can kind of.
Okay, cool. So I'm on general channel. So to do threaded replies, let me just show you guys on a random one real quick. So this is the post, right? Oh, sorry, my Google. This is the post. This is how we reply in thread, this little nugget. Click that, and then this is going to open up. This is replying just to this thread, not the entire channel, just to this one specific thread. So where I'm going to be making this thread is going to be in the general channel, and it'll be right here.
Let's headline it. Just put committed group. Mind you, guys, this is an opt-in, right? There's no requirements. However, I'm going to push you guys. So it's an opt-in. Our motto is ruthless personal accountability, right? That's our motto. If you're going to join this group, if you're going to put in your numbers, we want you to hold yourself ruthlessly accountable to what your actions are. So go in there. I want you guys to put in what you're committed to achieving every single day. How many calls, how many knocks, how many follow-ups, whatever that is. And I want you guys to put that in there. So put that in there, light that up. That way we can hold each other accountable. If you see someone on there that wants to do 20 calls a day, and I'm going to be in Oakland, who wants to join me? Well, shit, Del Mar says, I want to be with you, Ernesto. Let's go. I want to learn about the market 2 hours a day for 2 hours this week. Who's going to come with me, right? Who's going to brainstorm? Who's going to mastermind? Who's going to make the fucking calls that are going to lead to appointments met? I promise you guys, appointments met is the most important metric that you guys are going to have. But how am I getting there? What am I doing in my community? What am I doing on social? What am I doing in my farm? What am I doing with company generated leads? How am I following up? Do I have a plan every single day? So what I want you guys to do is only post in that if you are committed. But looking around this room, I know that you guys are a team of winners. And what winners do is they hold other people accountable. So you guys, do that for me. Do that for yourselves. Post in there what you're committed to doing. Next week, we'll re-go over that and say, all right, Sandy, you wanted to do X amount. Were you able to hit that? Yes or no? In the realm of possibility, were you able to achieve that? Would you have been able to do that? Yes. And let's just continue to have this. You guys, we want to help you get into contract as quick as possible. Like I said, $15,000 to $25,000 would benefit all of us right now, right? You guys know what needs to be done in order for you to get into contract. These conversations are great, but these conversations are not great if we're not having them with consumers. There's nothing good about having this knowledge if we're not going out and sharing it. I'm sure there's consumers right now in your database that you haven't touched base with. Oh my God, Tom, hey, I wanted to touch base with you. I had a group coaching session this morning, made me think about you and the family. So I just wanted to touch base and share with you a couple of nuances that are happening in the market that may apply to you or may not. Cool, hit me with it, Del Mar. What is that? You guys, take this information, use it to your benefit. Accountability, it's gonna get uncomfortable. right? It's going to get uncomfortable, but that's what we want for you guys. I want to get back into this. I want to help you guys. I want to coach better for you guys so we can get you guys in the contract faster and making you guys get make a lot of money and hit that $2 billion goal. I'm obsessed with 2 billion. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by better serving you guys. So thank you for your participation on a high level today. We got to almost 80 people at one time today. Thank you for all your contributions. Your show was fire today. Appreciate you. Go and take action. Peace, chicken grease, all that. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. See you guys soon.